back. Thanks for joining me again to finish our drawing. So my next pattern is one that I think a lot of kids might enjoy. So it is this web pattern here. I'm going to move a few things around so that you can easily see what I'm talking about. I'm going to put the drawing in this space right here because there's a lot of curved lines in the web pattern that are similar to the one I have up here, and I want to kind of separate the two patterns that are sort of similar looking. So I'm thinking about where I'm going to put my patterns as we go. So it starts with 1x, and then the second step is to add a plus sign to the x. So I'm going to do my best to find the center of this space, and your X doesn't have to be straight lines. These are two curved lines, or four curved lines actually, so you can have them be curved. They don't have to be straight. That helps it look more three-dimensional. It kind of looks like something is pushing against the web. So step 2 is to add the plus sign, so adding more lines in between here. So now I've got a web with 8 beginning lines. Step 3, it looks like we're adding curved lines going toward the center, starting on the outside. So one big difference between my drawing and the instructions, this is a square format that they are using. My format is not a square, so mine's obviously going to look different from this, but we're still using the directions. We're just filling in a space that is not the same dimensions or format as what we have. So starting with the corners, making kind of a curved line best I can, connecting the corners of the lines I have. So when I said corners, I meant where the line for the web meets the edge of the space. So that's what I just did. I put a curved line in there. Fourth step, final step in our instructions is to continue that web design, those curved lines, and they're all going to meet up. So this could be one continuous line. I'm going to do my best to make this as one continuous line, not picking up my pen, making that curve kind of exaggerate a little bit as it gets toward the first step of the web that I had. It's making it kind of dip down a little bit more. I don't want it to be too flat looking, is what I'm trying to do. And then that pattern really emerges, it comes through. So I'm focusing on making sure that these spaced out lines are even. It can help it look neat. And that's what we're trying to do, is draw a neat. And I think this is going to have to be my last one. I'm out of space. What I'm thinking about now is how I'm going to add shading into this pattern. So what I think I'm going to do is shade in every other one. I'm going to use my pencil for this because it would be a lot more work with the pen. I'm trying to make this a little easier on myself. So I'm going to make kind of a checkerboard pattern with my web. So every other space is what I'm trying to do. Started in the center, then I'll go every other one on the next row. Working on the next row, every other one. So when I say every other one is shaded in, I'm talking about when I'm going around the web and when I'm going toward the center of the web. So every other space will be colored in. The last pattern that I want to demonstrate is this one called swirls. And I think this is a really neat pattern, and I've noticed when I've taught this to fifth graders before that they also really enjoy this one, but sometimes they get a little bit stuck because this pattern looks a lot different and the steps are a lot different than the other patterns. These patterns, it's easy to stretch the pattern to fill up the whole space, but with this one, it sometimes can be a little difficult with these swirly tentacle kind of shapes. So I like to start with choosing which side I want the tentacles to come out of. I think I'm going to have them come from the bottom. So starting with one kind of curly tentacle shape, and then you're going to add a few more. So they're adding 3 more. We can add 3 more. I made mine a little bit large, filling up the space. So I might make the other ones a little bit more small. I'm going to have one kind of curl over here. And they are overlapping each other. So I'm going to have that one look like it's kind of going behind this, and then I'm going to have one kind of creeping behind the other ones. And I'm going to have it sort of emerge from the bottom right here. Step 3, adding all of these circles. All these circles are touching each other, kind of looks like they're squished in there. Sort of reminds me of those Orbeez or those water bead things. So I'm going to start kind of on the top edge, lining up all these circles, squishing them in there. It's going to take some time. Now my final step is to add shading. So I'm going to help this tentacle overlap look a little bit more natural and realistic. So where one overlaps the other, on the one that's behind it, I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow, because then it looks like the shape on top is casting a shadow over the one that's underneath it. So I made a dark shadow close to the line, and then I'm going to bring it out a little bit with some lines. So there's a dark shadow, a medium shadow, and then a light shadow. It's a shadow gradient. And there's a lot of overlap, so make sure that on your picture you're noticing where those shadows would have to go. I'm going to add some shadows coming from the bottom of the paper too, because now it kind of gives the illusion that maybe this piece of paper has a cut in it and these tentacles are coming through the paper and the paper is casting a shadow on those tentacles. So pressing dark, pressing normal in the middle, and then pressing lightly to get that light shadow. I finished filling in the shading on the top pattern, and now that I have 3 of my patterns with shading with a pencil, I'm noticing that this pattern looks sort of empty. And I'm going to quickly shade in some of the spaces on here, but I want to do it in a way that is a pattern and goes along with this kind of pattern that I created. So I'm only going to add a shadow on the top line and on the left side. When you're finished with your drawing, please submit it to Google Classroom. I created a Google drawing for every student, and it looks like this. It says, insert your Zentangle drawing into the frame. At the bottom are the instructions to do so. Go to Insert, Image, and then all the way at the bottom, go to Camera. You can use your computer camera to take a photo. Since I have my document camera plugged in, that's what you see right here, but it still works on my computer. Yours is just going to be the front-facing camera. Arrange your picture so that you can get your whole drawing in there. Click the camera icon and then insert, drag and make your photo large enough for us to see your picture, and then submit it.